What's up, guys? This is Dean here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Dunsparces and Dragonites Season 6 season recap. So, there's no battle in this video, obviously, but sort of just summarizing how the season went, how I think everything went, and then talking about plans for the future is kind of where I wanted to go with that. But I wanted to start off with my draft, because, you know, that's the starting point of the season. This draft happened early December of 2017. Excuse me. Early December of 2017, and we ended up starting to play matches at the beginning of 2017. It's now middle of April 2018, so quite the long season. It's lasted for about 4 months, almost exactly, actually. Pretty happy with how it went out, and let's get into the draft. So my first overall pick in the draft was Mega Medicham, pretty much the biggest offensive threat that I had on the team, and it ended up doing a lot of work that we'll see later when I sort of go over the kill leaders and stuff. My second pick was Zapdos, which was easily the flat-out MVP of my team. Zapdos came to a lot of matches, a lot of matches. Maybe I can show that. Well, I've got all my teams here lined up to sort of talk about, and we can count how many games Zapdos came to. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of 16. So it missed out on 4 games out of 16, but, you know, you can only have so much. My third pick was Scolipede, which ended up being quite the good physical attacker for me this season. I believe it used the most Z moves on my team, and it ended up being a pretty solid pick. Togekiss, another solid pick on my team, ended up filling more of a mixed role between defensive and offensive. Excuse me. But it was a good pick. I'm really glad I picked it up. It was like the best fairy available at the time because all the good fairies went really early. Chandelure didn't come to as many games as I'd hoped. It was kind of a big threat in the games it did come to. But it ended up being just a little bit too slow for my liking. I may or may not draft this again. The other 4 I would definitely draft again in a heartbeat. Cragganol I ended up dropping, which we'll talk about a bit later, and I think Cragganol only came to 1 game the entire season. Wasn't super useful. I thought the utility as a spinner might be neat with Scolipede for Spike Stack and stuff, but I ended up never bringing Spike Stack Scoly, I don't think, so it didn't matter. Alomomola was an absolute monster on this team. Great physical wall, fantastic pick, especially in round 7 to get that thing was really good. Steelix was a waste. Honestly, I ended up dropping Steelix, and my tier 5 pick, it ended up coming, I think, 2 games out of 16, so not the best value out of that. I was hoping Steelix could be a really good Stealth Rocker. Previously, I didn't have a Stealth Rocker on this team, as you might notice. The only hazards I had were Spikes with Scolipede and T-Spikes with Scolipede, so I wanted some Stealth Rocks. I ended up not bringing them pretty much ever. Round 9, I picked up Zygarde 10%, which was a really cool pick. Really happy that I actually got Zygarde 10%. It was really neat to use. I've used Zygarde 50% for, which Zygarde 50% before, which has a lot more natural bulk than Zygarde 10% does, but I liked the speed of Zygarde 10% a lot. I thought it was a really good value dragon pick in tier 3. And I previously didn't have a dragon. Dragon ended up not being the most important typing for Zygarde. The ground ended up being the biggest thing. Primeape came to a couple matches, and it was okay. Another tier 5 that just didn't come to many matches. It actually put on a lot of pressure in the matches that it did come, but I ended up finding that I didn't need the extra fighting type. I liked having Mega Medicham more. I picked Primeape almost exclusively as a Defiant Sweeper initially when I had picked it, and then there was only like 1 Intimidate Mon drafted total. Like, I don't think that Landorus got drafted. I'm pretty sure there was only like Arcanine that was like the single Intimidate Pokemon was like Arcanine. So Primeape ended up not being super useful. There might have been another one, but we just didn't play that team the entire season, so yeah, last pick I picked up Ferrothorn. Oh, what a last pick in the draft. This was just a beaut. Ferrothorn was absolutely fantastic on this team, and it ended up meaning that Steelix was completely worthless, because Ferrothorn did the exact same job as Steelix did. It does it better because it can be defensive on both sides, and it got a lot more kills than Steelix ever would have. I think Steelix came to one game, tanked a Steam Eruption with Sturdy, and then died to the burn. That was all Steelix did the entire season. Ferrothorn picked up 6 kills in one match. Beat that, Steelix. Stupid shit. Anyways, this was the team. Now we'll sort of talk about what it looked like afterwards. So here's the D&D doc, and we'll go through teams and trades. So here's me right here, row 14. So I ended up dropping Kragnell for Swallow and Steelix for Floatzel, as you can see down here. I used two of my trades to do that. It was an interesting format with the free agent drops. You were not allowed to pick up anything higher than a tier 3 with your free agent drop. So if I were to drop like a tier 1, then the highest tier that I could pick from was a tier 3 from there. And you had to have another Pokemon to go along with that. Excuse me. Like Goodra, for example, Austin over here. Picked up Metagross, which is a tier 3, and dropped Goodra, which is a tier 2, because he had another tier 2, where was he? He had another tier 2 in Mega Absol to just fill that slot. So he was able to do that. He actually had quite a few tier 3s from what I can see here. Mienshao, Tangrowth, Metagross, and Polion. Sounds about right. Yeah, so we ended up making those drops, and Swellow came to a lot of games. Swellow actually did come to quite a few games, from what I remember, at least 3 or 4. Floatzel ended up coming to 1, I believe, and then I considered it a few times. I considered it for the Elimination Bracket Finals match, and we'll go into the whole bracket stuff in a second as well. But Floatzel ended up just not putting in the power that I wanted it to have. Like I was really hopeful for Floatzel because it has such a great speed tier. Unfortunately, that speed tier on my team is already covered by Zygarde 10% anyways, so it wasn't super necessary. My team in general was fairly fast, actually. Like, Chandelure and Togekiss both sitting at 80 were the only, like, offensive threats that were slow. Everything else was, like, super fast. Mega Manicham and Zapdos both having base 100, and then Floatzel and Zygarde 10% both having 115. That's something I would never draft ever again, is having 6 Mons sharing speed tiers. That's just stupid. I would want to cover more. I would want to cover more speed tiers. That was a little bit silly. Again, this is like throwback to December, which I had been in league matches for like a month or 2 months maybe when I started this league, and now I've been battling for like 7 months. So I'm a lot more experienced of a battler, and I definitely wouldn't have drafted the same team, I don't think, but it ended up working out for me in the end, overall. Yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts there, and then let's talk about maybe the standings real quick here. So here's the Johto Conference. This is the conference we were in. We were in the Ho-Oh division. Finished the season 10-2 with a +24 differential. We managed to win all 6 of our division matches, and we managed to win 9 of our 10 conference matches. The streak doesn't really matter. That wasn't updated for like a really long time, but we actually had a really long... Oh, no, you know what? This might be updated to what it was. We managed to finish 2nd in the conference as the division champion of the Ho division. We absolutely destroyed this division. It really wasn't close. To the guys that were in this division, it was really fun to play you guys, but as you can see by the differential, it wasn't a huge challenge for me. Like 24, and then the next best is -2 for Arnav. So, I mean, even the other conference, or the other division, like Jed was like the next best record. He was 3 wins behind me. And Krabby had the best record in the league, because unfortunately we lost to him. But he didn't have the same division win. He didn't have the same division wins as me because Jed beat him. So, yeah, I guess we can take a look at the other conference while we're at it, because I sort of consider us a group of friends, but me, Magic, Austin, and Jed all got put into a different division, which was really cool, because it meant that we didn't have to play each other all the time, and so it meant that we were sort of, it was more exciting when we actually got to play each other. So, like, I was in the Ho division, Jed was in the Lugia division, and then Austin was in the Groudon division, and Magic was in the Kyogre division. We all ended up making playoffs, Magic and Austin ended up finishing number 1 and 2 in the Hoenn Conference over there. And Jed and I finished 2 and 3 in the Johto Conference. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, maybe we'll just run through each game then now. So, if you haven't seen one of my season recaps before, then you don't know what's coming, but if you have, then you do know what's coming. I should just sort of drag this over, but this is my prep doc. I make a prep doc like this for every single league that I'm in. Outlines my team with my speed tiers and the max speed that they hit with a neutral, like so for Mega Man Jam, this would be Adamant max speed on the left, 299, and 328 is Jolly max speed on the right. So I do this for all of my teams. This is actually a lot brighter on the main monitor that I record on. Normally I have these pulled up on my secondary monitor, and so the colors don't stand out as much, so I apologize if it's sort of blinding. Maybe it's blinding to me because I live in eternal darkness and I never have the lights on, but yeah. So week 1 we ended up playing Mid and the Kentucky Torcats. He actually left the league like 4 weeks before the end of the season or something. He said he had too much schoolwork to do, which was pretty hilarious. And then he said that I just don't think that that's a good enough excuse when you're still part of other leagues to drop one in the middle of the season like that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. He ended up beating us, but he brought a team that was like wildly different than what I expected. I thought Mega Scizor and Sneasel would come for sure. Because it looked on paper like Zygarde 10% just ran through this team, mostly because Delmise had a horrific matchup against like my fire types and my flying types, and he ended up bringing Raichu and Rotom Heat. 1,000 Arrows would have just bopped the Rotom Heat, which was such an issue in that game. I actually ended up packing T-Wave on multiple things, and he was Lumberry Haxorus and managed to set up and beat me. I think I lost that game 2-0. We can look through my team for that. So I ended up bringing Occaberry Ferrothorn for the Rotom Heat. I actually think that Occaberry came into play at some point. I was physically defensive Aloe. We were just 4 attacks Mega Medicham. I actually could have, if I was Bullet Punch on Mega Medicham, that could have been even better. It was actually a Life Orb Scolipede set with SD and Aqua Tail. Why would I run Aqua Tail? Gliscor, I guess. It's probably for the Gliscor. This set had nothing for the Mega Scizor if it came. I was Scarf Chandelure, and he actually managed to set up on my Scarf Chandelure later on. I was like a physically defensive Zapdos as well. Why was I Phys Def on so many things? I remember he was Nasty Plot Raichu, and I had nothing to stop him. So that was really unfortunate, but Heat Wave. Wow, I don't think I ran Heat Wave like ever after that game. So that was kind of unfortunate. We started off the season kind of on a low point, honestly. This was over Christmas break. This match happened on December 20th, so I didn't get to upload this for a while, but I ended up uploading it after I got back in January, so that's when you would have seen this match. Week 2 was, this was an out-of-conference match, so week 1 was all out of conference, so Mid was in the other conference, the Hoenn Conference, so this one didn't matter as much as some of my other matches, which was really nice. Week 2 we played Arnaud and the AFC Arios, right before New Year's Day actually, December 29th. Another one that was uploaded in January. He brought a lot of what I was expecting from what I remember. He had actually made some drops like the week before, something like that. He ended up picking up Leafeon and Mesprit, I think, for Behem and... no, was it Behem? Let me check. He ended up picking up Mesprit for Trevenant and Leafeon for Duosion. Sorry, yeah. Which were good additions to his team. He has some like he had some Weather Sweepers on here with the Leafeon and the Beartic. And Heatran runs like a Z Sunny Day set sometimes, so that helped out the Leafeon. And Palisand can run Sandstorm, and he's got Stoutland as that. So he actually ended up bringing that combination in our second match, I believe. So that was kind of cool to see. Como was like his best Mon the entire season, and Azu, he brought Banded like every single game except his last one, I think. I ended up running Thunder Wave again on a lot of things, and it seemed to be my identity at the beginning of the season was trying to just paralyze things. We can check that team out real quick. Rocky Helmet, defensive. Well, I brought another Occaberry Ferrothorn to handle the Heatran, and I had Thunder Wave on there. And then I was a Chartyberry Togekiss. I went ham with the berries here, and I was Chartyberry Togekiss with the T-Wave to be able to take on the Mega Aerodactyl, or at least Thunder Wave the Mega Aerodactyl, which I managed to do, and he turned out to be an Agility Mega Aerodactyl, which didn't which meant the T-Wave didn't matter. So clearly he had watched my first game. I don't even know. We ran like a mixed Roost, Life Orb, Zapdos. That's kind of neat with the Drill Peck there for the Como-O. That's actually pretty cool. I didn't realize that I did that. Ground EMZ with X Scissor on the Scolipede because I hate missing moves, so I didn't want to miss Mega Horn on the what? Mesper, I guess. Excuse me. Scarfed Zygarde 10. That sounds about right. Zygarde 10 absolutely wrecks that team. Oh yeah, this was the game where he didn't... I locked myself into Outrage to kill the Aerodactyl. He doubled into Azu. I'm like, well, okay, I'm dead to the Azu. And then he switched... No, I killed the Como-O with Outrage. He doubled into Azu. And then he switched into Aerodactyl because he forgot that Azu was a fairy, I think. And so I ended up getting 2 kills with that Outrage for free. Yeah, that was a cool game. Picked up our first win in the season, which was pretty clutch. Week 3, we ended up playing Devin in the Detroit Decidueyes. This match went way closer than it should have been. His team was ridiculously weak to ground and fighting. Excuse me. So I ended up bringing Mega Medicham, Zygarde 10, and Primeape, and Steelix. And Steelix ended up just tanking a Steam Eruption from Volcanion and dying. I had no good special walls for the Volcanion, and I needed it to be chipped because he likes running max HP on a lot of his sweepers. So I needed it to be chipped to actually kill it with stuff. Oh my goodness, excuse me, I'm so sorry that I'm yawning. I needed it to be chipped for me to actually kill stuff, so I ended up toxing it with Alamomola and then kind of trying to stall it out. Stack Attacka was a thing. Zygarde 10 didn't do enough damage to Mega Aggron, and I had to rely on High Jump Kick from Mega Medicham to kill it over Drain Punch. I was carrying both. We can look at the team for that as well. I was carrying both on the Mega Medicham, as you see, Drain Punch and a High Jump Kick, and I had to rely on the High Jump Kick to hit, and I missed. And he got me with the Avalanche instead of clicking Heavy Slam. And so because I didn't hit him with a move, the Avalanche wasn't boosted power. Scolipede was a waste. I'm pretty sure it just switched in and died with the red card. It was supposed to prevent setup from something. Maybe it wasn't. Stack Attacka, maybe? I don't know. Scarf Primeape was really cool, and Banded Zygarde put in a lot of work. Mega Medicham was the real hero of that game. Steelix was just a waste of space. I was like, oh, it's a Spadef wall. No, it's not. Unfortunately for Steelix, this was its first and only appearance. Week 4, we took on Jed in the Adelaide Redrax. This was our first match of Jed against Jed in the season, and he brought a really scary team. I think what ended up happening... Oh, I actually can't remember the exact details of this match. I remember, like, predicting something. Oh, you know what it was? He, like, trapped my Ferrothorn in with Celesteela with block, and then I ended up, like, critting him twice with a knockoff or something like that to weaken him enough for Mega Medicham. Mega Medicham picked off, like, most of his team with Fake Out. He ended up being Banded Hitmonlee, I think, and I cleaned it up with a Mega Medicham Fake Out right at the end of the game. I was running like a Specs Cryogonal set. I think this was the only time Cryogonal showed up to a game as well. Yeah, I ran a Specs Cryogonal set because Specs Ice Beam just ran through him. It actually like did a lot of damage to pretty much everything not named Araquanid, which he didn't bring. And Thick Fat Mamoswine, which he did bring. So, but Specs Ice Beam just absolutely destroyed everything else. He didn't bring the Alone Marowak, which was his other Ice Resist. So, yeah. It could have done a lot. I don't remember it doing anything, to be completely honest with you. I might have actually clicked Rapid Spin at one point. I'm not entirely sure. Freeze Dry was there for me to actually deal with the Araquanid potentially. Mega Medicham just cleaned up his team. This was pretty much the same set. If you don't know already, we played Jed 3 times this season, and I think we brought the exact same Mega Medicham set all 3 times because it did so much. Oh, okay. I ended up bringing double Scarfers against him. So the Scarf Primeape did work from what I remember. And I got my rocks up with Ferrothorn, and then I pressured him really hard to not be able to get a defog off with his Golbat. That was kind of the story of this game, because rocks were super important for me to break the Dodrio's Sash, and to be able to chip things like the Espeon and the Mamoswine down quite a bit. And so I ended up pressuring the Golbat. I think I predicted, I was in on Primeape on something. and he predicted like a U-turn or a close combat or something, and I actually caught the Golbat with an Ice Punch, which was really solid. This was Primeape's best game, I would say. I brought a specially defensive Zapdos with U-turn, and this same Zapdos came to all 3 matches, except I ended up changing out U-turn for Toxic the last 2 times, I think. Ferrothorn looked like it did well in this matchup, and then he trapped me with Celesteela, and I got really scared the next few times, so I stopped doing that. Week 5, we played Caleb. This game, Ferrothorn ended up picking up 6 kills because he was not prepped for Ferrothorn. He didn't have fire coverage on anything, and he didn't bring Darmanitan, which I thought was a huge threat to my team. Xurkitree ended up not coming either, which another huge threat that I thought was going to come. I prepped hard for Quagsire, and that didn't come. Chinchino clicked like Rock Blast on my Ferrothorn, I think. Let's just check out that team. So this was another division match. This was our last first division match, and I ended up picking up like I think it was a 5-0 win. I think I ended up sacking Zapdos to bring in Ferrothorn at some point. Oh, you know what it was? I thought that I could live the Rock Blast because the calc said 2 hits. It didn't say that it was Skill Link Chinchino. It said it was, 3 hits on Rock Blast. And so it looked like I could live a Banded Rock Blast. And I was like, oh wow, I can live a Banded Rock Blast. Yeah, no, I couldn't. I couldn't. So I ended up sacking Zapdos turn 1 because I was specially defensive, not physically defensive. And then Ferrothorn came in and just cleaned up the game with a combination of Leech Seed, Stealth Rock, Gyro Ball, and Power Whip. Nothing else really mattered this game because that's all that there was to it. Chandelure looked like it had a really good matchup, and it did in theory. I think my strat was to speed pass into the Chandelure because it absolutely destroyed his team. In fact, that's definitely looking like what it was, or speed pass into Mega Medicham, but speed pass into Chandelure just wrecked him. Like the combination of these 3 moves. I don't know, I was Specs though, so I shouldn't have been Specs for sure. I could have run like Life Orb maybe, and done the same thing. That was a little bit silly. Oh, I brought a Haze Zygarde 10%. How cool is that? Just for the Mimikyu, I think. I'm pretty sure it was just for the Mimikyu. So, that was cool. Week 6, we played... Oh, God. Barry? This was Barry and the NAC Breloom. I wrote wake up early. 10 a.m. is too early for me. He brought a little bit of a different team than I was expecting, I think, and Necrozma ended up being a huge threat because he just kind of clicked attacks with it. We'll sort of see what my team was for that game. So I ended up bringing a specially defensive Zapdos again with Reflect. That's really cool. Reflect for things like the Staraptor because this was still my main switch into Staraptor. Fizdef, Alomola, Scarf Togekiss, which seems like it came a lot. I brought a Baton Pass one for some momentum with Aurasphere. Banded Zygarde, Psycho Cut. Oh yeah, Psycho Cut with Toxic. Okay, so I remember this Mega Medicham set, and I also remember the Scolipede set. Scolipede ended up winning the game, I think. Excuse me. This Mega Medicham was designed. I didn't need Zen Headbutt, and the only thing that was weak, like Psycho Cut, killed the Keldeo and the Quillfish anyways. So I didn't need Zen Headbutt to miss, and I knew that his switch into Mega Medicham would be Necrozma, so I brought Toxic on it to deal with Necrozma, and I think I stalled it out with Zapdos. Stalled it to death. I believe that was kind of the idea, and then I think Scolipede ended up winning the game. Excuse me, I can't exactly remember. I remember picking up the win in this one. I think it might have been a 2-0 or something like that. We can check in the fixtures and results, actually. So we ended up picking up a 3-0 against him, actually. So then this next week, week 7, we played Morgan. I was so scared about this match. She had such a bulky team. It was so bulky. It was so many mind games, and I really hate playing against Ditto, too. But Ditto ended up being, like, so clutch for her. She copied my Mega Medicham or something, and then I got it with, like, a fake out or something at the end. This was just an insane game. I think I managed to get a spike up against her with the Ferrothorn, which was really good because it ended up costing her a lot. Chandelure was super good, super good, super good. Oh, you know what it came down to? She had copied Mega Medicham, and I was Togekiss. I had Mega Medicham and Togekiss left, and so she had to choose which one to copy, and obviously this Togekiss set is going to beat the Mega Medicham set, despite the fact that I have Poison Jab to beat my own Togekiss. Oh, look at that. 4 speed. That's kind of cool. Can you even see that? Can you guys even see that? Probably can't. But this is a Scolipede at the bottom. This is a Scolipede at the bottom. Sorry, my logo is covering this up, but this is a Scolipede at the bottom with 4 speed. I guess you've been talking. You're probably like screaming at the monitor right now, like, Ian, what the fuck? We can't see your bottom one. Sorry about that. I can't actually change that right now. I'd have to take away the layout to be able to show you that. So I'm not gonna worry about that. In fact, I could just do this instead. So we'll look at Scolipede and you can see that it's 4 speed. Yeah, so it came down to this Medicham versus this Togekiss, and I think I ended up giving her my Medicham and then winning with Togekiss. Something along those lines, because I ended up flinching her. I can't remember how exactly it went down, but we ended up picking up the win 1-0. It was a really clutch match. The next week we ended up taking on Superstar and the Milwaukee Whoopers. This one came down to Volcarona missing a Fire Blast on my Ferrothorn, I think, and then ended up... Where is it? Yeah, so I ended up gyroballing the Volcarona to death because it had Quiver Danced up. Wow, this is bad. I should have been... What was I impish for? I should have been Brave. Or relaxed. Running Gyroball. I'm such an idiot. Anyways, I ended up beating the Volcarona 1v1 with the Ferrothorn, and I think Mega Medicham just cleaned up the game from there. This was the first game we had Swellow for, and Swellow ended up doing something, I hope. Otherwise it did nothing, and that's, you know, a shame. We brought a Scarfed Togekiss and a Scarf Zygarde, so we ended up running double Scarfers, Scarf with Extreme Speed. Oh, I'm smart. Black Sludge Scolipede. It's a physically offensive Black Sludge variant. Okay, I don't know what I was doing here, but yeah, I do remember ending up picking up this game. His Frostlass caused me so many nightmares. That thing, like, oh my god, it just set up spikes in my face, and then it Destiny Bonded my Scolipede, and I was like switching and switching to try and get away from the Destiny Bond, and then I forgot that Scolipede was faster than Frostlass. Like, I'd EV'd Scolipede. Sorry, I forgot that I was slower than Frostlass because I'd EV'd myself to outspeed the Volcarona and not the Frostlass. And so it ended up costing me my Scolipede's life. In the end, we won the game, so it didn't really matter. He ended up not bringing my Milotic, which was a pain in the ass for my team to deal with. He didn't bring Jolteon, which was another pain in the ass for my team to deal with. He didn't end up bringing Serperior, which was another pain in the ass for my team to deal with. Weezing was just free from my Mega Medicham to kill. I believe Mega Medicham picked up a lot of kills this game. Then we played week 9. We played Devon. So this was our rematches for the division, and I ended up picking up a much larger win against Devon. I think it was a 5-0. I misplayed with my Zapdos and let my Zapdos die. Otherwise, this could have been a clean 6-0 for me. I brought a really cool Flame Charge Fire EMZ Chandelure set with Will-O-Wisp as well. That's really cool. I didn't bring a ton of Z-moves this season, but I ended up bringing that. He ended up not bringing Volcanion the second time, and I was like, well, I'm not prepped for Volcanion again either. I ended up bringing Spadef Zapdos as my prep for Volcanion, which didn't come, so whatever. The next match, we played Krabby. So this was our second loss of the season, and it was probably the most heartbreaking because I designed a team that I thought, no, not that one. I designed a team I thought that was really good against this team because Swellow could go through Naganadel Sub with Boom Burst, and I would always outspeed it before a speed boost, and I could kill it, or I could speed pass into my Mega Medicham, which was my entire strat, was speed passing into my Mega Medicham, because Scolipede could take on his Florges really, really well. Like, Scolipede switched in on Florges for free despite the Focus Sash, and I always had Poison Jab to threaten it out. Unfortunately, he is Skarmory plus Florges, which was super annoying. This dude didn't even bring Dougie against me, and he played like he wasn't scared of Mega Medicham. Like, he built like he wasn't scared of Mega Medicham like, I played him twice. In both games, he was not scared of Mega Medicham. In my mind, Mega Medicham destroyed his team if he didn't bring Cofagrigus, and he didn't bring Cofagrigus twice. Twice he did not bring Cofagrigus. I'm still a little bit salty about that. Sorry that I got a little bit heated there. I killed the Skarmory with my specially defensive Zapdos, but as you can see, we had nothing to break into Naganadel Sub, so I ended up having to like get discharged rolls to hit kill the Naganadel Sub, and it just ended up sweeping me, boosted up and sweep me. That Mon is stupid. Get rid of that Mon in draft format. It is so stupid. So stupid. Unless everyone gets something broken, that thing is retarded. So that's another bad choice of words. That Mon is ridiculous, is what I meant to say. And it should be banned. So that's all I have to say about that. Week 11, we played Caleb again. He ended up putting up more of a fight, but Ferrothorn still put in quite a bit of work. He brought the circuitry this time, which was actually a scarf circuitry. Avalog didn't come this time. I don't know. Vivian came this time for some reason. I don't know, man. I don't know. Another win for us in the end. We ended up bringing quite the same team, I think, overall. I actually brought a soft sand Zygarde 10% this week as well. That's kind of neat. I didn't realize that I brought soft sand twice this season, but that's kind of cool. Just to boost the power of 1,000 arrows with the Dragonet set. What were we? Oh, we were speed typing Chino. Pretty basic. Week 12, we ended up playing Arnaud in our rematch, and we crushed Arnaud in that one as well. That match did not matter whatsoever for my chances for playoffs because I had already clinched, like, back here, I think. After I beat Devin, I clinched. I clinched the division back here because I was so far ahead of everyone else in the division. And so playing Arnaud, it didn't really matter. This match mattered for his playoffs hopes, I think. And it ended up not mattering for his playoff hope either. Who knows? I think I brought more T-Wave against him. Oh, I remember this one. I brought Z Tailwind Togekiss because I thought it would be hilarious if I could crit and flinch him at the same time because I'm a dick and I know that he hates Togekiss. So this was also Floatzel's single game that it played this season. Floatzel looked like it was going to do a lot of work, to me at least. The fact that it couldn't get burnt by things like Heatran, so it was really good switching to Heatran. And then Liquidation like bodied most of his team to me. It looked pretty good in my mind. I don't remember what actually happened. Can't exactly remember. I think I actually got a Liquidation off on like Stoutland or something, and that was about it. I seem to remember Zygarde picking up a lot of kills. I was a Choppleberry Ferrothorn for the Como, and I brought Thunderwave because I brought a lot of Thunderwave this season, guys. A lot of Thunderwave and a lot of Static. I paralyzed a lot of things. So anyways, then we made playoffs, and we took on our good friend Jed again in a rematch, and this was a hard match for me. Electrode ended up putting a lot of pressure on my team just because I dropped the Steelix. So I only had one ground type in Zygarde 10%, and I have a very electric weak team. So I brought Swallow to this match as well, and you'll see that we are a pretty electric weak team. I brought a physical Swallow. This is the only time physical Swallow came, and it was really cool. I brought a lot of priority, Fake Out on Metasham, Quick Attack on Swallow, and Extreme Speed on Zygarde. I baited that I was like Scarfed or Manded Zygarde for most of the game, and then ended up switching up moves like last turn or something. Faked up a clean 5-0 against him. We out-predicted a lot of scenarios, and we caught his Celesteela on 1,000 arrows switching in or something like that. Whimsicott, I think I burned and then stalled out. And Espeon was Scarfed and it couldn't break through Spadef Zapdos, which was the defensive MVP of the team. Second round of the playoffs, we ended up playing Krabby. Fucking Gonadel. This thing is a broken piece of shit, and it has no place in the draft league format unless you're playing Uber's League, where everyone gets something broken. Cofagrigus still didn't come. I'm still mad about that. Why would you not bring Cofagrigus against Mega Medicham? It's like the biggest threat on my entire team. What are you even doing in prep? I have no idea what to say about that. We brought like almost identical team to the first time, and he fucking demolished us once again. He actually 6-0'd me this time because he managed to get another sub up with Naganadel, which was really stupid. It was really stupid. I'm salty as all hell about that stupid thing and his stupid speed boosts. So anyways, then we got dropped to the elimination bracket. There was an elimination bracket. That's really cool. The fact that there was one. Go through the playoff scenario here. So we ended up playing Jed in the playoffs because he was the second seed. So we ended up playing Div Champ 2 against Wildcard 1, Div Champ 1 against Wildcard 2. So in theory, the better you did in the regular season, the easier opponent you got. In theory, right? That's in theory. The easier opponent you got in theory. So I actually feel like I got cucked either way. Beating Jed in the regular season sort of led to a disadvantage for me. I think that Jed would have had an easier time against Krabby as well. And Arnaud after beating him twice, I'm sure he would have come up with like a strategy to beat me in the end. But we ended up playing Krabby and lost. You can see that we lost. And Krabby ended up going on to win the whole thing. So congrats to Krabby. Congrats to Dat Dude for placing runner-up. Both of them got automatically promoted to the Premiership, and everyone else moved down to the elimination bracket that was in playoffs. So as you can see down here, Jed lost our game, so he was in the elimination bracket, and he ended up playing Arnaud and advanced to play Magic, and then he ended up winning, but we'll sort of scroll over there in a sec. So in the elimination bracket, we ended up playing my good friend Austin. Austin had a really tough team for me to prep for, but the match itself went pretty quickly. I brought an offensive Zapdos. We'll go through that team. I brought an offensive Zapdos against him, and led with it, Volt switched into my Scolipede, got an SD up, and won the game with Scolipede. Scolipede 6-0'd him. That was pretty much all there was to it. I didn't even bring Mega Medicham against his team. I thought it was okay. Silk Scarf Swellow looked like it was going to do some work for me, but it didn't end up doing anything. Ferrothorn I brought to another game with another Occaberry. Seemed to be pretty common on the Ferrothorn sets. As much as I loved Ferrothorn, its 4 times weakness kind of hindered it a little bit in draft format, just because basically every team drafted a fire type, and so you're going to get bought by a fire type move. I didn't have the best bulky water to take all fire type moves because I drafted alone Mola. If I had Melodic, that was probably a different situation. Melodic did get sniped for me, just like Mimikyu got sniped for me. Oh well, I'm not super salty about that because Mimikyu wouldn't have done the same thing on my team. I'm really happy that I got Scolipede instead. Yeah, so Scolipede won me that game. And then today, we played in the elimination finals against my good friend Jed, and we picked up the win 6-0. So we finished up the season with 2 6-0s, just like in the NCL regular season, actually. We picked up 2 6-0s at the end of that season. My match against Jed was a little bit interesting. I'm probably going to post this before he even posts his side of the battle still, so I won't give away his sets because they're kind of cool from what he told me, but we had a pretty good matchup going into the match. I was confident in what he brought that I could beat it pretty easily. I was so scared that Hydreigon would body my team. I know he said he was scared that Mega Medicham was a huge threat to Hydreigon, and Primeape was a huge threat to Hydreigon, but Hydreigon outsped Primeape, and if it was Scarf, could outspeed Mega Medicham because I can't put a Scarf on that. Scolipede was probably the other threat that he was concerned about for Hydreigon, so I can understand why. Togekiss, same thing, Zygarde 10%. Actually, I did have quite a few threats to Hydreigon, now that I'm looking through my team. I thought in all 3 matches that it might come, and if not. So this was our final match of the season. Just run through this team real quick. Spit-F Zapdos, the exact same set that we brought the last time. Same with Mega Medicham. We brought a no-attack Scolipede unless you count Endeavor, just to speed past Mega Cham. And we ended up bringing another Soft Sand Zygarde. I was going to bluff Band, but we brought the Soft Sand, and I brought Glare because I like paralyzing things. I brought Glare, I have Static, I have Discharge, I paralyze things. That was kind of the story of the season, is that I paralyzed things, to be completely honest with you. So we ended up playing 16 games, which was the absolute most, and we ended up winning the elimination bracket. This isn't updated yet because the match just happened today, but our name will be in this promoted box here. We ended up getting promoted to the Premiership, which is pretty cool. I love the idea of these leagues that have 2 parts to them, like a minors and a majors, and so it's really cool that we start in the minors and get promoted to the majors. I'm a fan of the team that I drafted, a fan of the way that I played this season. It sucks that I had to make it through the elimination bracket because Jed, Magic, and Austin, all my good friends, in the elimination bracket with me, and we all actually ended up playing at the same time. We all ended up playing in the same brackets of the elimination bracket, and so it ended up being that only one of the 4 of us could get promoted. I had the best record out of all of us in the regular season, but I don't think that I played that well during the playoffs, or even during the regular season, for that matter. I think that my first game against Devin was super sloppy, and I should have won that match a lot bigger. I think my match against Morgan was another super sloppy game. I played a lot of sloppy games. My game against Barry came down to something. My game against Superstar, I mean, he had to miss a Fire Blast with Volcarona, otherwise I lost that game. Lots of hacks going in my favor. In the final, the elimination bracket finals match, I hacked Jed to death. I'm pretty sure there's no game he'll ever play ever again where he gets hacked as much as I hacked him in that match. Luckily, it was a no-pressure game for both of us. Neither of us really cared too much. We were perfectly content with staying in Championship if we needed to. But that's kind of how it went. So just to finish things up here, after talking about this, we'll go through the kills and deaths. So Naganadel kind of ran through the league, 24 kills, 6 deaths, 18 differential. Our top kill leader was Mega Metacham with 13 kills and a plus 10 differential. Funnily enough, Ferrothorn had 12 kills, 5 deaths with a plus 7 differential. Zygarde killed a lot of things, died a lot. Where's our next one? Aloma Mola had a positive plus 3 differential, which is really cool. A lot of these... Where is it? Oh, maybe it's gone now. 1,000 Arrows. I mean, most of those are from Zygarde. My Zygarde, to be honest, not the Zygarde 50. At one point, we had Drain Punch up really high. Oh, there it is. Drain Punch is really high. That's a lot from Mega Metacham as well. Gyro Ball, all 8 of those kills, I think, are from Ferrothorn. I'm pretty sure they're all from Ferrothorn. Going down here, Scolipede had 8 kills, 5 deaths, plus 3. This is all regular season stuff, so it doesn't include the playoffs, where Scolipede obviously picked up 6 in one game, and it picked up like 2 in another, and blah, blah, blah. Chandelure, 5 and 2, plus 3. I mean, it really didn't come to very many games. Primeape, 3 and 2, plus 1. Again, it only came to 3 games. Zapdos, 3, 5, minus 2. That does not show what Zapdos did for me. Zapdos was easily the most dangerous defensive mod on my roster. Paralyzed so many things. It was just insane. Still going down here. Finding our last stuff here. Electricity. Where are we? There we go. Swallow died twice, didn't get a kill. Floatzel died once, didn't get a kill. I don't believe... Wait, what? That's not right. I don't remember Floatzel dying in that game. Maybe it did. Togekiss 4 and 4 plus 0. I mean, Togekiss came to quite a few games. It was more of a utility mod for me in the end. I'm really curious about that. Week 12 battles. I don't think Floatzel died. I think that's wrong. Yeah, Floatzel didn't die. What? Togekiss died, Zygarde died, Ferro died. And Megacham cleaned up the game. What? I only brought Floatzel to 1 game. You guys see? Floatzel came to 1 game. That was it. So how did it die? Alright, now I'm investigating this. We'll go back, do this. This is interesting. I guess I can talk about the future while I'm at it. Floatzel didn't come... Well, hang on. Let's pinpoint what week we picked up Floatzel. So we still have Steelix here. And then we have Floatzel here. So, week 10 is the first week it could have come. And we established that it didn't die in week 12, and it didn't come in week 11. And it didn't come here. So I don't know why Floatzel shows up with the death. That's completely wrong. I don't know why it's saying that. Anyways, plans for the future. I do plan to compete in the Premiership next season if there is a Season 7 and everything goes smoothly and I do actually get promoted. There hasn't been like an announcement or anything about that, so I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I do plan on competing in the Premiership next season, hopefully. Franchise-wise, I have an idea on what I want to franchise, and I've talked about it a lot in this video, so you might be able to figure it out, but I'm not going to give that away. I believe it was drafted in the Premiership, which means I'm going to have to compete with someone to be able to franchise it, and it might not be worth it, but I relied on it, and I think it'll be really good to franchise. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Excuse me. I'm looking forward to playing the Premiership, getting revenge on Krabby. I'm looking at getting revenge on Krabby in the AABL this season as well, because I really want to beat him after he crushed me twice. Who else? Dat Dude? I haven't played Dat Dude in a long time, not since UPBA Season 1, so it'd be kind of cool to play him again. Excuse me. There's a lot of really good battlers in the Premiership, so I wouldn't be surprised if I end up not performing as well as I hope, and maybe getting demoted even. Who knows? It's not the biggest deal to me. This was kind of my goal for the entire league, was sort of to get promoted. I think that's kind of like the biggest achievement, well, at least for a championship team, that's the biggest achievement that you can sort of have. When you're not running Naganadel on your team, that's the biggest achievement you can sort of have. So, yeah, salt levels are through the roof to do Naganadel, aren't they? Anyways, I guess that's probably enough out of me, and we'll just finish things off by having the title card, or we'll do this. This is our old logo, but sort of finished out the season on a nice high note. We ended up winning the elimination bracket, so look to cheer us on. I have no idea when the next season is going to start or anything like that. I may or may not choose to upload it. Who knows? That's up to me, I guess, because it's my own YouTube channel, and we'll see what goes on with that. But if you sat through this 45 minutes, congrats. I don't have a prize for you, but you can say avocado in the chat if you made it all this way. In the chat, oh my god, in the comment section, say avocado if you made it all this way, because it's interesting to me to see how many people actually watch my videos the entire way through, especially when they're 45 minutes like this one, where I just sort of talked about each match in depth, because there wasn't too many stats to go through. It wasn't like the LET doc that was like firmly laid out with huge stats and stuff. So anyways, that's probably it for me, and that's it for DnD Season 6, and I'll catch you guys for my other leagues, NCL and AABL, that are going on right now. Bye!